Hey guys, Shanna Cramer here with Creatively Uncorked. Today we're going to paint cottonwoods. Hey guys, Shanna Cramer here with Creatively Uncorked. This is the Creatively Uncorked membership to help you get better at painting 1 week at a time. This week is cottonwoods. The reference photo is up in the corner, so I'll just move this one off. I have a standard 9 by 12 canvas. I have some brushes, not yet sure which ones I'm going to use, but I have a flat brush, a 1/2 inch flat, also called the medium flat on some of these videos. I have a small round, and I have 2 round bristle brushes. Okay, and then I also have some Q-tips. We'll try this. We'll try something new. All right, so I have this fun texture in the background, and I think that I'm going to actually use a paper towel. Working with acrylic paint today, and acrylic paint is water mixable until it's dry, and then it's permanent. So if you're working with acrylic paint, just make sure that you don't let it dry on your brushes, don't let it dry on your clothing. Rinse it out right away if you spill. Otherwise, it's going to be forever. Let's see, I want to mix some colors because this background is kind of a gray blue. So I'm going to start with a gray. Black and white to make gray. And then I'll take in a little bit of blue. So I should end up with a very blue-gray. Kind of a dusty color. Yeah, like that. Okay, now I'm taking my 1/4 of a paper towel here. Just dunk that in the water. Crumple it up. Okay, now here is my other brush. And I'll just add some paint to it. And start adding that to the canvas. Just some little swirls here with this fancy new paintbrush we've got. Get some nice swirls happening. Okay, this is getting a little dark. Gonna have to add some white. And as far as where am I putting paint, I'm just keeping an eye on this cheat sheet up here so I can see that there's blue at the bottom and blue at the top. There's only a small stripe in the middle where there isn't blue. Take some more white. A little more white. We're gonna have a really dark, heavy storm here instead of a gray sky. If I get it too dark, so just a little more white. Okay, that's enough. Now you can just throw your fancy paintbrush away. All right, now this background, you could let it dry if you want to. Maybe you should, but I'm not going to because, well, I just want to move on. All right. So I'm rinsing out my brush that I mixed the paint with. The next color I'll be adding will be yellow. Little yellow, little black. And I'm actually just going to retire this brush for now and switch to a bristle brush. Okay, so I'm taking my 2 yellows. What I have here for yellows, I have a yellow oxide, which is a little more dull. And then I have this brighter color, which is a yellow medium. Cad-free yellow deep. Okay, so this is a warm yellow and a earthy yellow. So we have a hill. So just taking a look here, you can see that you've got that hill, kind of like a little hill here and a little hill here. So just taking both colors on the brush. Picking up a little of the background, so I'll just clean off the brush and do that again. this is a little bit better. Short brush strokes, a lot of paint. And that is working much better. Cleaning the brush and getting some texture with a little bit of white. This painting is all about texture. So don't make your brush strokes too smooth. Oh, too much paint. Okay. I will do I'll go over this one more time. We have some black to add and a little bit more texture to add. Okay, I'll just stop. Okay, now I want to take a look at what can I do before I need to do the trees. So the trees go in front of everything. So they're the last thing to go on. So now I also have this dark horizon line in the background. That's going to be some blacks. I've got some grass in there. That can go after the trees. This can go after the trees. So really the only part that needs to go in before the trees is that black stripe on the top. So I'll just go ahead and pick up some black on that fuzzy bristle brush. There's the thing with bristle brushes. They lose their bristles sometimes. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to scribble this right along the top of that hill. So I'm just kind of using the edge of the bristle brush and just kind of, there we go, right along there. I'm not trying to pick up the paint, I'm just trying to lay down more paint. Okay, that's looking pretty good, pretty textury. All right, stop. Brush in the water. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at those trees a little bit more closely. I'm switching to the smaller bristle brush and picking up a little black. Now I've got a couple of trees over on the left side. They're about this big by the looks of it, and they're starting right about here. I've got this little hill here that we haven't painted in yet, but there we go. Let's add that right now. All right, so now I've got this one. There are 3 trees on the left side. The first one, I'm just going to press down. So to get thinner lines, you'll want to use lighter pressure and a thinner, more thinned out paint, and also a smaller brush. These bristle brushes, they don't make skinny little lines. They make fun textury lines, wiggly lines, but not skinny little lines. So I'm just going to add the trunks here of all these trees. There, I'm just rotating the brush a little as I'm moving it along the canvas. And that's going to get you a really wiggly random brush strokes. Okay, last one. All right, now on to the big trees. The big trees go about that tall. Almost to the top, but not quite. So we've got, these also are starting from the center of that yellow area. Adding a little water to the paint, mixing it into the black. And again, just kind of rotating the brush. This is still that big bristle brush, a little messy. And that's okay, because I can switch brushes whenever I need to. For example, right now, I'm switching back to my, well, oh, here it is. The small round, the pointy one. This one now, add a little water, mix a little water into the black paint. You want to use your thinned out black paint. Load up your brush, and then here, light drag. So I'm holding it way up on the handle and barely holding onto it. So it's just dragging, letting gravity do the work. Just dragging the brush across the canvas. A little more water, a little more paint. Same story here. You can twist the brush if you want to, if you want a little more random line. For now, I think it's enough enough just to hold on to it, so I'll just stick to that. All right, and then over here, we've got the other big wiggly trees. Add as many or as few branches as you want. That looks good. I'm going to stop there. I will have more black down here at the bottom, but I think I want to let this dry just a little bit longer. All right, back in the water with that one. Switching back to my large bristle brush. And this is where I'm going to add some texture behind the trees. So I'll start out with small amounts of messy bristles. That's what we want. So starting off with a little bit of yellow. And I'm just going to do some little random woofda. Just some nice little highlights of yellow here and there. Pops of color under those trees. Again, barely holding this brush, letting gravity do the work for me. Just tap, tap, tap. Okay. Now, switching colors. No, I'm not cleaning off my brush because it's all just going to be mixed on the palette anyway. I'm switching to a little black, just dabbing the brush in that. Just little tap taps. Gravity taps. So we're not pushing the brush down onto the canvas, we're just letting it drop. A little bit of texture there in the background. Little water, add it to my black paint. Ended up with too much water, so now I'm just holding my brush on the paper towel, let it soak up the water out of my brush. It'll soak up the water and leave the paint, most of it, enough of it. You gotta remember to leave a gap between those, or I'm gonna end up filling this whole thing in with tree. Okay, so while I have that messy bristle brush and the black paint, then I'll come down here to the hill where the grass is growing out of and just lightly drag some messy grass around those trees. All about texture. And here's where we can get some of the darker texture toward the bottom. And just dragging this across the canvas gives the bristle brush is full of texture, the canvas is full of texture. Add them together and you get quite a bit of texture into your painting. So I'm just dragging the side of the brush here so it's dropping less paint onto the canvas. Just little scribbles. Again, this is gravity doing the work. I'm not pressing the brush down onto the canvas at all. You know, I just realized that kind of looks like eyelashes. I don't like it. All right, let's get some more grasses in here. Like, let's see if we can go off the edge with this one. There, anything to make it not look like eyelashes. There, how's that, better? stop. I'm going to let that go. I might have to brighten that back up. It got pretty dark. But in the meantime, let's go for some of those cottonwoods. So this is where I'm going to use the Q-tip. I'm just dunking this in some white paint. Big old glob of white paint on the end of that. And more paint. Again, this is going to be a trick of gravity. Just let the gravity do the work for you. Otherwise, you're going to end up with strange little dots there. You see, that's what happens when I press down on it. You see that weird dot? Yeah. When I don't press down on it, when I let gravity do it, then I end up with a more solid color dot. But none of these are very round, so let's see. All right, that was one attempt. Let's see if I can do this with 3 at once. Okay, so now I have 3 Q-tips, which may not give me the results, but let's test it. Okay, maybe not. So now I'm just drawing circles, kind of like little circle scribbles with the Q-tip. And the paint underneath here is still wet, so it is probably going to pick up a little bit of the underpainting, but, well, that's just the way it is. Okay, so I'll do a bunch of little dots. I guess I don't need to do every single dot all at once. I can do layers. Playing the drums. Yeah, so I guess just turn on your music and paint to the beat. I can't turn on music because I'm recording this and, you know, music copyrights and all that. But you can. What if I did like this? I mean, this is a nice meditative sort of painting if you're made out of patience, but what about me? So let's try something a little bit different here. All right, so I'm gonna get 3 at once here. See how that goes. Oop. I guess it's going a little faster. Also looking a little weirder, so I guess be careful with that. And being that we've got big globs of paint here for this, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry, so I mean, be sure to allow extra time for it. Okay, now that I've got all the little dots, let's add some big dots. So another Q-tip, and I'm just going to add some bigger circles. Try to be random. I know when you're placing dots one at a time, it's really hard to randomize them, because the human brain just naturally creates patterns and looks for patterns. It's really hard to fight against instinct and not do that. Some people love cottonwoods. The sound they make is pretty nice in the wind. And they grow near lakes often enough that it kind of reminds me of the lake. Other people don't like cottonwoods because they aren't very friendly, for one. If they, well, when they start spewing their cotton everywhere, then it gets into everything. I'm sure you know, you've probably had to clean cotton out of your air conditioning or whatever. Fills up your yard. Okay, so I'm just going to do some final touches of like a little bit of texture. So just right down here in these tree trunks, they're pretty solid black, and I just want to add a little more texture. This painting is all about texture. So I'm just picking up a little color and just dragging the side of the brush. Not that much color, a little barely any color. Just dragging it. Okay, now down here, I really want to brighten up these areas. Oh, I could put some white grass in there. That'll brighten it up. Maybe these can be like little fuzzy dandelions. Cottonwood, dandelions. That's like everything that you want to clean out of your heater or your air conditioner in the summer. Maybe if the yellow grass grows in front of the black grass. To make thin lines, you have to use thin paint, so thin it out with water if you want to be able to make little skinny thin lines. Yeah. Well, let's try a little more white with that. I'm gonna brighten up the ground a little bit. Got really heavy and dark when I added all that black. Well, when I added all the black to make it not look like eyelashes. Man, some things you just can't unsee. Sorry about that. If I wouldn't have said it, you probably wouldn't have seen it. And here we are. That's another bonus of these texture-y paintings. You can just add new paint wherever you want, and it just kind of blends right in. Okay, let's see. That's not so bad. Okay, so this white looks really, really, really bright right now, but when it dries, it is going to fade a little bit and dry a little darker. You can see some of them that are getting dried already, and you can see the blue right through it. So it's not going to stay quite that dark. Well, let's see if I can... So I've got some of these black areas out there that were texture behind the cotton, so let's add a little more cotton over those. Okay, any other touch-up that you think we need? All right, I'm gonna call it. You can always come back in and add dots of other colors if you want. Actually, I do want. And the next Creatively Uncorked video is going to be out in 1 week. This is the membership to help you get better at painting 1 week at a time. If you have any requests or any questions, feel free to contact me. Email is always the best. So that's creativelyancorked@gmail.com. Super easy to remember, so you can email me there. Or you can always leave a comment on a video and I'll respond to it from there. All right, here we are, Cottonwoods. Thank you for painting along with me, and I will see you next week.